I'll hit start on this now.
It's already.
Hello everybody, I'm Kenny. Like John said, I do SEO, search engine optimization. I work with NeONBRAND. I own NeONBRAND. It's a search engine optimization company in downtown Las Vegas. So most of the time what we do is related to ranking websites better in Google. I recently just got back from MozCon. I don't know if you guys have heard of Moz. It's an SEO tool that we love to use. It was up in Seattle, it was last week. And a lot of the focus was on social media and how it's becoming an integral part of any search engine optimization efforts. So if you want your site to rank well, and if you want to get clients from your website through Google, then you got to have social. It's just a part of the puzzle, and it's becoming ever increasingly important. If you ask Google directly, they're going to deny that fact. There's actually Matt Cutts has made statements. Matt Cutts is the head of the SEO spam department over there in Google, for anybody who doesn't know. And he's made statements saying that it doesn't matter, like it's not taken into account, but malarkey. Yeah, yeah. They're definitely taking it into account somehow. And if they're not yet, they're trying to figure out how. So be ahead of the curve if they really aren't using it, and use social media. So what I wanted to talk about just a little bit, and then if this goes too fast, we'll just field any general SEO questions that anybody might have. Was how to integrate social media with your website. Some plugins, some ways to keep people engaged through social media, and how you can easily add those things. And disclaimer, there's a million of these plugins out there. Some of you probably use different and better ones. By all means, that's okay. These are just the ones that we use. They're pretty straightforward. So to start off, you want to make it easy for people to share your content. And the only way to do that is to have the little social share buttons on your website. So this is a plugin, super simple, easy to configure. The reason I like this one is that it gives you a slightly more unique experience as far as the like buttons go. You've all seen the square Facebook like, the square Twitter button, you know, all those. Well, this gives you a few options beyond those. Well, actually, they don't even give you those options. I want to see the demo. They have right here. Click here to preview the button sets. So they have a bunch of different kinds already, straight out of the box. So add in a little bit there. So all you would do to change to use one of these, after you activate the plugin, you come down here to your settings. You pick where you want it to show up. If you want it on your home page, your pages, or your posts, or on the archives, pick and choose wherever you want them. You can pick whether you want it after the content, for the content, or both. So it'll show up twice in the feed. And mention the point on that in a second. You can customize what the text actually says when it shares to that network. Here's where you pick the design. So just by changing that to one of these, it'll give you that unique social share button for you. And then you can pick which social networks to use. Just drag and drop, super easy. Just click and drag it, goes right over there. And then save changes. The one other piece is I like to have, it's under counters. I like to show the share count. I like to, if you have a complete ghost town and nobody's sharing your stuff, probably don't want to turn that button on because you look kind of lonely. Shows a bunch of zeros across all your share buttons. But I'll show you a way how to get those too. So I turn that on, I pick those other things, and that's what makes it show up on your website like this. So I have it set to show up after. I picked the simple posts. It's got the little numbers out to the right, so you can see where it's been shared. So that's that plugin. Any questions on that one? The thought process on having it after, well, let me move to the next plugin actually. So the next plugin, I actually have two options. I've stopped using this one, it's called Dig, only because it looks so generic. It's a great plugin otherwise. It floats the social share button down the left side of your screen. But it uses all the default Facebook, Twitter buttons to do that. Great tool. I choose not to use it because I like a more custom solution, which, like that other plugin, which I found just recently, and this is kind of a trade-off. This has good and bad to it, but mostly good. Through filament.io, and John has all the links, so they'll share those in the site later. But it's called filament.io, filament.io, not .com, filament.io. Basically, you sign up, it's free. You plug in here when you set up your first one, your first flare they call it. You pick the networks you want to have. It generates a button right here for you so you can see what it's going to look like on your website. The paid version you can remove the made with flair, but you can also do it with all those cool CSS styles that Robert was talking about earlier. You can, here's where you pick where you want it to show up. You want it in the top right, whatever. Turn those on, turn those off. I just have it on the left there. And then you can display the oh no, it shows the number by default. You turn that on and it'll show how many shares across all the social networks you have, so it adds them all up for you. Click Save Settings, it generates an automatic preview right over here. You can see it's down the left side of my screen. You can also pick where you want it to show up. So you can do by post type, if you only want it to show up on certain post types. This is connecting over to my site now and telling us where. It's pretty straightforward. Once you start signing up, it walks you through all those settings. The only other piece is back on the website, you install their little plugin, which again, once you finish setting up your Flare, it says, okay, now go install our plugin. It pops right up, and then it gives you a code to copy from their site and paste onto your site. The downside of this is that it is going to their site to grab the code, which is one round trip, which might slow your site down a little bit, but I haven't noticed too big of a drop, so it's not been a big deal. After you paste that in there, it shows up on your site. So there's my site, it's got it just floating down the side over there. Stays visible the entire time. So I use both of them. And the reason I use both of them is because most people don't read to the end of my long blog posts. So I want them to be able to share it whenever they want to. So if it's floating down the sidebar, it's always on their screen and it's always going to be visible. So that's probably the most important one to have. The other one I just like it.
How do you identify which post you're sharing if it stays static?
It changes per page. So you'll notice on this page we have 3, 9, and 3 shares. But if I go to another blog post, let's pick this one. 3, 9, and 3, and now I have 3, 3, 3. So it's the page that you're on is the page that you're sharing. So pretty straightforward, pretty slick, easy to use. Questions on that plugin? With what Robert was showing earlier, it's kind of jacked, but I didn't like it on my site. I wasn't ready to pay it for it yet. I was testing it, but if you go down here into the styles, you can get down on the flare button that shows their logo, and you can just do display none, and it goes right away.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Can you embed text into the share posts of any of these guys?
Embed text into the share. So like what they share?
Yeah. So like when they click Twitter.
Yep. Over here on.
It pops up the.
Here's where you say share text. So that's what.
Is that the label or is that the text within the post?
Add some custom text by your share buttons. Okay, wait, that might not be it.
That's just the label. I'm talking about actually within the post.
Yes, it is here. Text, email text, Twitter text.
There we go.
Yep.
Cool. You gotta do that with Facebook, right?
Can't do that with Facebook.
Nobody can do that with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Hate that.
Can't autofill the field on Facebook.
I know. That's what I want though.
I know.
Sorry.
Question on that? All right.
What are the costs with it?
We've been free up till this point, no costs.
With,
Yes,
it did say that plus. Can we go? Was it
Which
back
one? Yeah. Do you want to
So
see
just back one.
this one? I'm in a much tab, so I don't really have a back one.
Yeah, that simple share.
Oh yeah, okay. This
Buttons
one over.
plus.
This one. No.
There, stop.
Ah, this. I don't know. I haven't ever used it.
Okay.
You can figure out what's different. There's probably some added features, but I haven't needed it because it does Facebook, Google, and Twitter, which are the ones I care about most. So.
Okay.
Those are the only ones I'm sure to use. What's that?
Elitist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
One of my
You
favorites.
don't want to share the or cut. Come on.
Not so much.
James doesn't like sharing.
Questions about any of those up to this point? No? Straightforward, right? So the next one is, so those are all about sharing your stuff on the social media. The next one is if you want people to register your site, you register for your site using social media. There's a couple different plugins. So, well, there's a lot of different plugins. These are the ones I chose to demo. WordPress social login. So basically, when people go to register for your website, they have the option of clicking the Facebook button or the Google Plus, or actually there's a ton of options I'll show you. And it'll automatically connect to the API and then send them back to your site and log them in. The nice part about that is it makes it super easy for people to register for your site, and you get a bunch of information about them that you wouldn't get otherwise. So it makes it easy to use, and you get more information. So it's kind of a win-win. And then in agreement, something like that, with the other plugin, I just theme my login to make it look not WordPressy for people when they try to log in. You're all used to the screen with the logo WordPress. Yeah.
how's your experience been with people actually logging in? Like,
On engaging websites, it's not a problem. It is a little tricky to get that ball rolling because lots of times people, if they hit your site one time, especially if it's a ghost town, if you don't have any comments or anything, then they have a hard time. They don't see the purpose, and you have to deliver value. You have to show some kind of value for that.
Like a download or something.
And lots of websites lack on that. So if you have a good value drive, then it shouldn't be a problem, and that makes it easier for them to sign up lots of times. If you had a 10-field form for them to register every time to get the same info that one click does for Facebook or Google or one of those, you lose people. So simplifying it makes it more probable to have signups for sure. For this one, this is one of our clients that do a lot of stuff for free because they're freaking broke. But they're actually really good. But so here's how it all works. So it changes the whole login thing. So if I go to their URL/WP-admin like we're all used to doing, it'll actually redirect me back to the login page. So this is a function of the theme my login. So now I'm at this login page. I can do a couple different ways. I can use my login if I have one, username, password, or I can use the connect with Facebook, connect with Google. I'll show you the back end on how all this connects. Let me hand it up. Let's log in with Google real quick. If it's your first time logging in, it does the whole authorize this website. You click OK once. If it's the second time logging in, it re-authenticates and sends you right back to the website. So now I'm logged in. Since I'm an administrator, I have all the functionality, but most people become subscribers and they get basic functionality, which you can then control with other plugins that we won't really get into yet, but that'll get them logged into your site. The settings for this are back here. Settings, social login. So it does take a little bit of effort to get each one of these set up, but it's not like you have to be a genius to set them all up. They have actually pretty impressive instructions on each one of them. So to set up Facebook, you have to set up a Facebook application in order to do it. But if you click the how do I do this? 4 steps, pictures to accompany it, really lays it out really easily for you. How to configure that plugin. You hit save and it's on there. Same with Google, Twitter, same thing. And then same thing with all these other social networks that only Robert uses. You can add any of those to the list, and it gives you the walkthrough instructions. Instagram, also popular, so you can have any of them for
Where's
login.
MySpace? There's no MySpace. I'm out.
Throw it away. God, not worth a dime. Oh, MySpace. Is this MySpace now? They've changed the icon so many times lately. So pretty easy to configure, and it gives that option to log in using social networks. So you hit the login page. It also does it on the theme my login also adds a register page, which people can register the old-fashioned way, providing all the information, or they can hit the button, sign right in. Questions about that?
Where is the data displayed? That
Yeah,
is
good question.
collected?
Okay, so back here in the back end of the website, let's see, I'm not logged in anymore.
You should log in with Facebook.
I should log in. Oh, too late. I clicked. Same drill on Facebook. Asks you to accept. You're in. So back over here, when you register, just like every other user, it shows up under the all users portion, and now it adds this WP social login on the side. You can click it and see their profile. So if I click here, that's my Facebook login actually. If I logged in with my Facebook, gives you all their information, a website URL. Who knows where it pulled that from? I got it on my Facebook apparently. My gender, my birthday, March 19th, in case anybody's wondering. Even the year, email address, my city and state.
Is there an easy way to export that information?
Oh, there's a million user export tools, I'm sure.
No, within
I haven't looked at this. I'm sure you can get it out easily. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a little off topic, but I'm a big fan of websites where they send
Totally off
validation
topic.
codes
No,
to your
no.
phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Two-factor authentication.
Two-factor.
do any of these work with that kind of thing? Or?
No. And the last WordCamp though, who was the guy, the local guy that has a really slick?
Devin
What
from
was
it's Devin from
Yeah.
something launch launch key.
Launch key. That's a cool one. I was really impressed.
Well, doesn't
WordCamp.
Google authentication work the 2-step with?
Oh, it probably does. Yeah, it probably does. If you're using Google,
Yeah,
and if your Google account's set up for the 2-step authentication,
Yeah, it
then
works with
probably-
everything.
That's true. Yeah. Launch
Well, as
key
a
is cool.
user, you can do it that way. You're saying.
you'd have to have your Google account set up to be two-step authentication. In order
Like if
for
your
that.
Google is set up for two-step authentication, when you log in, it'll
It'll
do
do
two-step
that.
automatically.
Yep. Good question. Not anybody else? Okay, so the last one, I think is probably the coolest one, because one of the hardest parts about at least managing websites when you're managing a lot of people's websites is whenever you write this new content, how do you get it onto their social networks, and how do you get people to see it on the social networks? So I shared this at our last SEO meetup we did. This is called Next Scripts. So I'm a fan of automation to an extent. This is a sweet automation tool. This will, once you configure it, which it does take a little bit of work to configure, this is probably the most advanced thing of the things I've shown, but still not super advanced. Once you configure it, when you're inside your post, you'll get additional options. Like here's one of my blog posts, say I just finished writing it, I want it to post to all my social networks. Well, I come down here underneath the post, now I have the auto poster options. I can come in here and I can I can preset defaults first off. So that's how these are auto-generated. And then I can come in here and update them as I'd like. So I can say, okay, if I'm posting to my NeONBRAND Google Plus page, I want the format to be what I want to ask this question, I want to include a link, I want to include, you can do an auto image, so it'll grab one from the post, or if you uncheck it, you can select whichever one you want out of the post pictures. The super nice part about this, especially with our page, is I want to share it on my business page, I want to share it on my personal page, I want to share it on my employees' 5 business or personal pages, and you can set up as many as you want. The free piece of Next Scripts does everything you'd ever want, except Google Plus and Pinterest, I think, are the 2 that they keep for the premium guys, which those are pretty important ones. So I ended up paying for it's like $45. Let's just see.
What's the license like? $45?
Unlimited. It's
Okay.
developer.
1 year or?
Let's find
You got a
out.
laptop, look it up.
Yeah, man.
You
Mr.
want to-
Question
Does it
Answer.
keep
There's this
typing?
site called Google.
Yeah,
Google.
Uh,
You just make that up.
Price. Limited time offer. One-time payment of $50. So it used to be $150 a year, or no?
Yeah, if it's not yearly.
Apparently.
Cool.
So I paid the $50.
I'll pay 50 for it.
Gives you all these options. So here's where it's set up. So it's under settings, under Snap Social Networks Auto Poster. You come in over here, and one at a time you go into add new account. You select the network you want to use. There's a bunch of them, obviously. I go down even further. YouTube's an interesting one. I have no idea where these post when you post to YouTube, but we do. Where do you post blog posts on YouTube? Say
Does that
Google
mean you
Plus.
upload a video?
No, it's just doing text.
That's it.
I don't know. It's there, so we set it up.
Can you select Facebook actually?
Yep. Facebook.
So then when you're in there, you can connect to pages.
Yep.
Business
Personal profiles,
accounts.
pages. My man Spencer back there sets this up all day long for everybody.
Yeah.
So he's the guru on this plugin specifically. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
We post right to our Facebook page, right to my personal page. You know, it's great. So super awesome tool. I mean, you can see that the settings aren't too bad. And again, these guys, just like that other plugin, detailed Facebook instructions. You click it, and their instructions are great. You just go step by step. Great an app. If you already created an app for that other one, you can use the same app. You'll be rock and rolling in no time.
So does it post automatically, like instantly?
So in here, like if we show settings on here, it's actually, yeah, okay, there's like so many cool settings on this plugin. That's a good question. So you can come in here and set up your defaults. So I can say, okay, here's what I want every one of them to default to without me changing it. So if I don't change it and I hit publish, it'll post with these default settings immediately. But you can also, this one, let's see, advanced. So there is so much in this plugin. It'll repost it for you. It'll delay post it for you. It'll with tweets, it'll recur it X amount of times, and it'll vary it by 15 minutes either direction, so it looks more natural. I mean, settings are phenomenal on this thing. It goes on for days.
Can you do these settings as like a single post? Like let's say you only want one to be reposted every 7 days. What
Yeah, and it'll stop after you post another one. like if you're saying, okay, I wanted this one posted until I post another blog post, or say you post a blog post before, it'll take the other one out of the queue and start posting your new one. I mean,
very not
it goes
bad.
on for days. This plugin has so many features. Post to LinkedIn. The Twitter ones, let's look at those for a second. Again, you have to set up an API, but this is where, oh, and it'll import, if anybody comments on your Facebook or your Google Plus, it'll import them back into your website as comments on your website. Like, super cool.
I'm buying this now.
Super cool.
Next script. Yeah, I'm buying it right now.
And you know what's
Wait,
awesome?
don't buy it yet. I'm gonna just give you. I forgot.
yeah, give me a
I do
quote.
have a. I forgot I have one, but I do have a.
Yeah.
Way
Affiliate
to
link?
make me some money.
Yeah, refer a code.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I'll make it.
So John will send that out, but you know, only post between times of the day. I mean, it goes on forever.
So everything works perfectly. No errors so far?
I mean, we have to re-authenticate sometimes if we notice it's not working anymore, but
But
I'm okay with that every once in a while.
As long as it's working like 95%.
Because you can post all those at one time. Like the amount of man hours that goes into posting a social or a post onto 15 different profiles or whatever you got, it's a no-brainer.
And best of all, NextScript's site is WordPress.
Yeah, they're WordPress guys for sure.
They eat the dog food.
Let me think. There's one more thing I want to say about that. Next scripts. You can go back and repost if you wanted to post it yourself. Might be it. Next scripts. It's good. I like it. Questions? Anybody? How much more time do I have? Yes.
I was making some notes, I might have missed it, but how does it, if you create a post, how does it interpret that and turn it into like a short tweet or?
So you set up those defaults before. On this page, you can say every time they have a bunch of you see the little URL codes and stuff. You can see them all here. So you can pre-plan it. Grab the title, grab the URL, and that'll be your default setting. So if you just publish it, then it's going to grab those and autofill it for you. The excerpt, you know, author name. There's a ton of them there to choose from. I'm gonna make it bigger.
You have to load your own hashtags.
No, it'll use the categories or the tags. If you want it to use those instead for the hashtags, it'll do that too.
So it'll do that by default, but then on each post?
And then when you go into each post, I'm just so excited about this plugin. When you go into each post, it autofills it for you based on your defaults. But then you have the option of updating it on the fly before you post it. The one caveat is if you don't pay it, if you're in the habit of publishing and then viewing if you like it or not, and then publishing and viewing if you like it or not, it's going to post it that first time you publish it. So make sure you.
You could do a delay. Let's say 1 day delay. That way. If
Yeah,
you're
you
one
can
of those
set it
people
up.
that publish and view. And
Yeah,
publish and view.
yeah.
You can do
Or
that.
just do the preview instead of the publish button. But yeah, but
People
it's
like the
tricky.
publish button.
I know. I'm guilty myself. Yeah.
Can you use your own URL shortener, or does it have
Yes,
to be-
you can. It has default. It has a URL shortener built into it. Let me see here. Settings. URL shortener right here.
Your URL's good.
You realize when I buy this, and if it doesn't blow my mind, I'm gonna blame it on you.
Yeah.
I don't know how it
It's all
works.
your fault.
Auto import your comments. What else we got here? Auto hashtag settings. Open graph tags. Verify the featured image. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
When does this come out?
I think it's kind of old. I mean, look at their website.
Well,
Looks
I've
old.
tried all these before. None of them work.
Yeah.
The 80s?
Yeah, yeah.
I've tried like 6 different auto posters before. None of them work properly.
This one's good. This one's good. This one's good. How much more time do we got?
Knock yourself out. 10 minutes?
I mean,
Whatever you want.
no, I mean,
Keep talking.
I'm kind of done. Unless
If you're
anybody has
done.
questions or general SEO questions, I can field anything like that. Yeah.
Number one, this is awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the prior thing for just a second.
Yep.
If you use Facebook as your login,
Yeah.
secure, if you have some kind of paid site, is it secure?
Facebook's super secure.
So
Yeah.
to use that same
Mhm.
concept that we just talked about, that's secure as well.
Yeah, you don't have to
Thank
worry about security for sure.
Doesn't Google have a social login automatically built into it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Not automatically. I think it's an add-on in there. For WooCommerce?
Yeah, I
It's
thought we
an
already had
add-on.
one.
Yeah, it's an add-on.
I could be wrong.
It's an add-on. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's an add-on. But there's a bunch of them out there. That's what I'm saying. There's so many plugins. This was just one that was nice and simple. Added 2 little buttons. I didn't want too much. Sometimes they add in the whole wide buttons, and it gets really complicated.
Reddit, all that.
Yeah. So, like that one. Anybody else? General SEO questions? John says I have 10 minutes.